Hi there, Stampers. It's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, welcome. And for all your returning subscribers, I truly appreciate you. So I'm just doing I had a card class, in-person card class a week and a half ago, and we had done a bunch of fun folds, and so I had just my samples left over. So I wanted to show you how to do some of these, what I'm calling like a trifold card. Now this is a little outside my fun fold series. I was focusing on bookbinding, which I had just finished up, and I did different variations on how to do the bookbinding fun fold, and then I did a gatefold series. So make sure you check out those videos. I'll put links to them down below in the description. And then I'm going to start, I think I might just do like a thing on trifolds, because there are some, fun ways to use them. But I wanted to focus today on these around the bend dies, which have been around for a few years, but I think they kind of get overlooked a little bit. So this is in the 24-25 annual catalog of Stampin' Up, and they have these great border dies that you can use to make, decorate like the edges of your card. And then it has all these like leaves and flowers that you can do to decorate. So it's a great die set. It's $33. There used to be a stamp set, but that retired. But really, you don't need, you can just use the dies because you can make everything with it. So, but I'm going to be showing you how to do this trifold card. We're going to do this one, which has that more of the floral or like a flowered leaf, excuse me, edging. And then we're also using some of the online exclusive paper. This is at Meandering Meadow. I've done, I featured this paper in my bookbinding corner. I think it was a corner pop-out fold, but it's beautiful paper, and it's perfect for this technique because you're letting the paper do the work. You don't have to do much stamping. So, and then I'm going to show you, I'm using that 6x6 sheet, and then the leftover piece, you can just go ahead and decorate on the inside. So that's the one that my class did. So we're going to do a version of this one today. And then I wanted to show you some of the other ones I had done. So this is the same. I just did some different paper, and I just positioned my focal point a little differently, but it's the same concept with the trifold and that Meandering Meadow. And then here I'm using some of the In Color Designer Series paper. So this is the Pretty in Pink. And again, I did that same die, but this time I did it in white. There's that one. Got a little Wink of Stella on my butterfly. And so you can change up. I'm trying to think if I've got one. Oh yeah, these are the ones I start to change up a little bit. So now I'm going to use the other die, kind of that swoosh, and it has like the little holes in it. And on this one, now I flipped it. I'm having the flap open on the right instead, and then having the paper, where this one, the paper was over on this side, and then the flap was on the left side. So you can switch up, you can do it whatever way you want. And again, this is that Peach Pie, and then this is the Shy Shamrock in color. And then my butterflies, I just did a little bit of Daffodil Delight, and then some of that Peach Pie. So and then I did some of the new eyelet embossing folder. And then I did the scallop die that is in this Around the Bend. So I did 2 different dies, and I'll show you how to do that today too. So there's that one. And then here's another one where I did both flaps, I die cut. So it's the same, measurements and everything. You can just really go to town on how you want to decorate this. And then I did a little bit of that scallop border for my Designer Series paper. And this one has all the flowers from that Around the Bend. So you can see you can do lots of different things with this set. All right, so that was Calypso Coral, and then this is that Peach Pie. And then a little bit of I think that was Fresh Freesia, and then the Shy Shamrock again. And then these I'm featuring, so we just started yesterday in the online exclusives. There are new items, and so this is one of the new items, and it has, and I'm going to be showing you this one today. It's called Changing Leaves. So there is a stamp set, there are dies, and this is a hybrid. So there's a stamp set, and then these are some of the dies, and then the big leaf die. I've got it in here because it's already with the folder. So this is that hybrid embossing folder where you can cut and emboss at the same time. So, and then this die comes with it. So see how it's all connected? So on this one, I'll show you how to do it too when we get to that part, but we'll be featuring. So that's an online only. And this whole, all like the folder, the dies, and the stamp set are all come as a bundle on that. So that's called Changing Leaves, and that's one of the new online exclusives. And then some other ones just to show you that I just picked up. Everyday Greetings is another new one that's online exclusive, and that's a photopolymer. Scenic Pumpkin Patch. You know, I love my pumpkin, so I can't wait for fall. I'm not a summer person. I love fall and I like spring. But summer, when it's hot and humid and the mosquitoes in Minnesota are thick, no thank you. All right, and then the other one is Frosted Forest, and this is another bundle. So there's a stamp set, and this is photopolymer. There are masks, so you can do your like stencil work. And there's a die set. So you get all of that as a bundle. So that's another kind of fun one. And I haven't, because I just got these, and I really haven't had much time to play, to do samples, but I will be featuring some upcoming videos featuring these sets and stuff. And then the last one, or these last two here, just to show you with that new Changing Leaves. So this is another one where I did the curve kind of polka dot holy edge border, and then I used some of this really pretty new paper, and then this is kind of featuring some of our wild wheat, mossy meadow, and then this is like a Cajun craze, and then a little bit of basic beige. So that's another way of doing it. And then my last one, we're going to be doing a version of this one today, but with some different papers. So on this one, I did use that embossing folder to emboss the pattern paper, which is kind of fun. And then I did, I was going through my scraps. This is just some old paper. But the base of the card is basic beige, which is a new color. And then this is that meandering meadow. This is the back side of one of those papers. And so there's that one. So we'll be doing a version of this one today too. So we're going to get started. And I will say, so my in-person class, they always get, they get a instruction sheet. And I realized this morning I had a boo-boo. I had a typo. So I'm going to re-upload in my Stampin' with the VIP Hounds Facebook group page, because I do have these uploaded for free if people want to join my group. I do share these with everybody. But just because I can't do my math, obviously, because you're using one sheet of designer series paper, and you're basically just cutting off a 1/2 inch on the bottom or top, depending on what your pattern is. And then your first piece is going to be 3 3/4, and then what's left over is 2 1/4, not 2 1/2. That's what I had in my instructions. So the first cut that you make is fine, but that leftover piece is actually 2 1/4, not 2 1/2, because Linda and math don't always get along well on it. But yes, this is my little fun fold book that they get with little instructions and stuff. So, all right, so we're going to get started. And I need my supplies. All right, so you are going to need your card base. Let's see here, some of these templates. It's going to be 5 1/2 by 11, okay? And then because I have a multiple of scoring, different scoring things, so I have like my Simply Scored, and then I have my We Are Memory, or whatever it is, We Are Makers, or whatever it is, their trim and scoreboard. And so depending on where, you know, the ruler is starting, you know, these measurements, that's what it's based on. So sometimes you'll see a 3 inch and 7 1/4, and then another one you'll see 3 3/4 and 8. And it was just depending on which machine or which scoring thing I was using. But you're basically, your inside panel is where your 4 by 5 1/4 cardstock is going to be laid. And then you're just making your score. So one of the panels is always going to be a little bit narrower. And that's the piece that you will do the die cutting on. The larger panel is the same size as that designer series paper that you're using. So that goes on this other one. For if you're doing this version. And then the other one, the one I'm going to show you here, we're actually going to die cut on the larger size. So you can really play around with it a little bit, but basically your cardstock is always going to be 5.5 by 11. And then, like I said, the designer series paper, you're basically taking a 6 by 6 sheet and you're going to cut a 1/2 inch off the bottom. And you can use that, I think on one of these I stuck it on the inside right here. That's that little 1/2 inch strip, so you can use that for the inside decorating. But the other one then your paper would be 5.5. This piece then is going to be 3 3/4, so you'll cut there. And then the leftover piece is, and I forgot to change it on here, this is 2 1/4. This is 2 1/4 by 5.5, because that's what's left over on it. So 3.5 by 5.5, or 3 3/4 by 5.5. See, Linda can't do math today. 2 1/4 by 5.5 are going to be your 2 designer series papers. And then your inside piece is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Oh my gosh, follow with me, people. I'm so sorry. Oh man, I tell you, this week has been kind of wonky for me. So much going on in my day job, and then just life gets busy. All right, so we are going to, so on this one I was doing, this is that layer one. I'm just looking here. I want to do, yeah. So, yep. So I'm on using this one. Yep. So on this, on the trim, the Stampin' Up trim and scoreboard, you score at 3 and you score at 7 1/4. If you were using, if you have the We Are Maker trim and scoreboard, because now you're scoring, your 1 starts on the right hand side instead of the left hand side. So if you're using this board, you would then score at 3 3/4 and 8 inches. So it just really depends on which way your ruler is going on your scoring thing. So since I'm using the Simply Scored, I'm going to be going at 3 3/4 and 8. So we've got, there's the 4, there's the 3 3/4, and then we'll score at 8. All right. All right, so now I have this shorter panel. I have my center, and then this one, again, is that 3 3/4, which this is where that we'll put our designer series paper on. So that's it for the scoring. And then you'll just do valley folds to make your trifold. So since we're going to be doing this card, my designer series paper is that larger panel. So we now have to turn our card around, because this piece, this is where that paper is going to go. Okay. And then we're going to die cut this part on the shorter, the narrower panel. So we'll do our die cutting first. Get my machine out here. And we're going to be using from the around the bend dies, we're going to do this one, which has that little stitching and then the leaves. And so since we want, if we look at our card, this is going to be coming in. So we want this stitching when we look at it, because this is the back side. So when we turn this flap over, we want this die to be positioned. So we're actually going to be die cutting on the, if you open it up, this is the back side of the card. Okay, so we're going to run it through the machine. And what I like to do is, you want this tip fairly close to the edge, and then I just kind of eyeball a little bit just to make sure I'm somewhat even on those edges. And then I'll just take a piece of low tack tape just to hold it in place. I might have gotten too close to the edge. All right, there we go. So now we've got it just, it's barely touching, and then it has to clip. So this is going to overhang a little bit because it needs to cut off those edges. All right, so now we're going to run it through our die cutting machine. So again, we were die cutting on that narrower panel, the 3 3/4 side. I'm just going to zoom out just a little bit here. Move a few things. All right, and then this, you've got to put your die through this way, and you really want to make sure your plates are all lined up and they're straight, because you don't want to be going in here through crooked. And I will go through this a couple of times just to make sure it's die cutting all the way through. And I just kind of do a spot check just to make sure it looks like it went through all the way, and I think that looks good. So we can go ahead and take this die off. So now there's our edge. Now we're going to take that other piece of designer series paper, because we want to die cut that side to do this curved edge. So this is going to be that narrower piece of designer series paper, which I just had it. Oh, Linda. Okay, here we go. Yes. All right. So this is that 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. So on this one, we're going to use that other die. And this one, look at all those holes. So you know, typically when you do this, it's always such a pain. I'm going to show you a little trick. Use a dryer sheet, and I just use the Bounce. This is like the unscented ones. Place this on your cutting mat. Then place your paper. Then place the die on top. And on this one, because we want this curve, we want to capture most of this paper, I'm going to keep this die fairly close to the edge of the designer series paper. And then I'm just going to put this in here just to hold this in place. And on these dryer sheets, you can use these multiple times before it starts to, you know, kind of fall apart. And then really you only need to go through this once, because this is designer series paper and it's thin. And then now that popped off. Okay. Now, like magic, take this, that's the piece we can throw away, and then look at this. Dun, 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 dun. It sticks. All the little pieces. I don't have to poke anything out. Isn't that awesome? I love that tool, or this tip. I thought that was kind of fun. So again, you can reuse this multiple times until, like I said, it starts to get a little thin and starts to fall apart. Okay, and I think that is it for the die cutting. So we can put this out of the way. Okay, so now we'll get back to our card. All right, so this is the side, like I said, when we ran it through the machine, we've got our valley folds. Now, this right panel, when we fold it in, this is where our 3 3/4 by 5 1/2 designer series paper is going to go. So when you open it, because it's coming in, so it's kind of like we're working on the back side of that paper. So we're going to adhere that to that right panel. And you could, like I said, this paper, it's so pretty. Let's see, what do I want to do? Do I want that one? Oh, they're both so pretty. but I think I'm going to do this side. I'm going to do this side. Okay, so again, this was our trifold. We got our valley folds. We're going to bring this in. We're going to place this directly, because this is the same size as the cardstock. And if you want to make this narrower, you know, so you have that cardstock border, you know, go ahead and take a quarter of an inch off the sides. Got a little bit of tape there, sorry. There we go. All right, so there's that. And then this piece then can go on this side that we cut. And with this one, I think I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue just because it has this little narrow border here. So again, this is a nice fold, you know, to use up your 6x6 paper, because you're using up a full sheet. The only bummer part is because the measurement is 5.5 by 11, you can only really get one card base out of one sheet of cardstock versus the two that you normally get when you cut your card bases. All right, so again, this was there's our other side. Now we're going to put this one on the inside, on the right side. Shift it a little bit. That's why I like the liquid glue. I can move around, can have a little bit of wiggle room before it completely dries. Make sure that's all in place. Okay, then our inside card base was 4 by 5 1/4, but I'm going to stamp on this before I place it in the card. So I'm going to be using Blueberry Bushel and Fresh Freesia. And I'm using the Sketched Butterflies, which this is a new set. This is in the annual catalog. And I did do a video, my floating gatefold card that featured this set and the dies. So it's kind of a fun set. All right, so I'm just going to do some of my butterflies in Blueberry Bushel. And I'm just going to have them do some flying up here, and then I'll have a few down there. And then I just want to make sure I clean off my mat, because I stamped off the card base there. And then the saying, which is from the Sketch Butterflies, is wishing you a beautiful birthday. We'll do that in the Fresh Freesia. And then this will be attached then to the inside of our card. All right, so then this right panel comes in. I'll close these up before I put my card in an ink pad. All right, and then this panel comes down. And then now we're going to go ahead and attach our butterfly and the flowers. And like I said, these I've already kind of die cut. So these flowers are from the Around the Bend. And then the butterflies are from the Sketch Butterflies set. So I've already cut my butterfly. I stamped them on white cardstock. And then I did just Stampin' Right markers, and I did Fresh Freesia. I did a little bit of Bubble Bath, and then Melon Mambo, and then Smoky Slate for the center, and then a little bit of Wink of Stella. I die cut it, and then I die cut another one in blue, the Blueberry Bushel, because I'm going to have this butterfly overhanging, and I always like to continue that cardstock color on the back so it's not so obvious that it was die cut. And then on this one, I am going to just pop the butterfly up a little bit with some dimensionals. So we'll just do, let's see here. And we'll put basically on this side. And I went a little, I knew I should have checked that before I put that on. I just need to shove this dimensional. I'm just using my pick tool just to kind of wedge it in there. I should have moved that dimensional so it's not sticking to my inside of my card. See, not my day to stamp. I do have those days. I think today might be one of them. Okay. So there is the front, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my little saying on. So I had already stamped this one, and this saying is from that new Changing Leaves, which is that online exclusive, and I stamped it in Blueberry Bushel. And then this die, it's actually a retired, it's from that Gorgeously Made die set, but I had a bunch of these already die cut, and it fit perfectly on this saying. And then I took from that Around the Bend die. So you get these flowers, and it's going to die cut three of them at the same time. And then I used this little green leaf, and I did that in Granny Apple Green. And then the flowers are Fresh Freesia and Melon Mambo. And then I just glued them together to make my one little flower. So we'll just put this then on the front of the card. Go right about there. And then on the inside, I want to put one more butterfly here. So this is from the Sketched Butterfly. So that's the solid one in Melon Mambo. And then I die cut the other one in Fresh Freesia. And before I put this in, I do want to give it a little touch of Wink Estella, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Yeah, yesterday on our walk, so I have greyhounds. Well, we have one right now, Ezera, but we used to have 4. And Kira was our little black Spitfire of a greyhound, and she hated being outside. She didn't like bugs, and she didn't like the heat, of course, being a black dog, especially this summer. And she passed away a couple of years ago. And yesterday when we were walking, it was like a black butterfly with like white. It landed on me, and I was like, oh my God, it's Kira. She came back as a bug. Oh, but yeah, so a little touch of heaven. All right, so that is that trifold with the Around the Bends and the Meandering Meadows. Isn't that pretty? Just super simple, easy way. And like I said, you can alternate what side, you're decorating these panels. So that's this version. Now I want to show you also how to do this one where I'm doing this other curved die and that scallop die. So we'll do a version of this one next. So kind of the same measurements, and we're still using that 6x6 sheet of Designer Series paper. And we're still using that Meandering Meadows, which that's another, it's that online exclusive. So make sure you check those out. Like I said, we got those new ones that just came in. So this is that Changing Leaves. So I've already got some of this die cut already. So I'm going to be doing this one is going to be this panel over here. Let's kind of show this so you can see what I'm doing. And then this is that 1/2 inch strip that was left over. I'll probably put that on the inside or something. And then this is the 2 1/4 by 5 1/2 that is left. This is the back side of this paper. So I'm going to flip it over, And I'm going to use these two as my, I'll put this one here, and then this is going to go on that side. And then my card base is the shaded spruce. And then I went through, because I do want to decorate, I wanted to do this as well. So I just happened to have from that Meandering Meadows, it was another sheet of paper, a different pattern. So I'm going to use that back side and die cut this one for over there. And then I've already die cut some leaves from that Changing Leaves, but I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. But I just had some stuff already die cut, so I just save on time. And then we've got some of our embellishments. All right, so let's get our scoring done, and then we'll do our die cutting. Get this stuff out of the way. So I die cut that one, I die cut that one. All right, so on our card base, again, which was 5.5 by 11, we're going to do those same measurements that were the 3 3/4 and 8. So it's the same as what we did before. So we'll do 3 3/4 and 8. All right. Then we want to, because if we look at this, this was our 3 3/4 inch panel. We're going to die cut this one. And as you remember, this piece comes in. So you want to make sure. So on this one, I goofed up. This is the back side of the die, and that's the front. I should have had this die, I should have had my paper going the other way, so I messed up on this one. But here's one that I did correctly. So here you can see the stitching. So when we go to die cut, again, you have to flip your card over and then lay the die on it, on that shorter panel. So I'm going to take the one that has all the holes in it, and we're still using the, I just gotta make sure I'm doing this correctly. So if I'm coming in, this is gonna fold in. Yes, okay. So on that shorter panel, I'm going to place this die so that the swoosh is close to the edge, and then these are going to be overhanging because we have to cut off that die. And I don't know what I lost my little piece of tape. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this fairly close to that edge, and then we're going to die cut this again. Making sure your plates are all in alignment. Oh, and before I forget, because this is that holy die, we need our fabric. Where did I put that? Well, where did I put that? Oh, here it is. All right, so we're going to put that fabric sheet underneath, and then the cardstock, and then our die. Make sure everything's lined up. Cutting plate. And again, since we're going through that cardstock, this time I am I'm gonna go back a couple of times just to make sure it's getting through that cardstock. All right, and then we'll do a little spot check here. Make sure everything is cut. So this little piece comes off, and then the rest of this peels off. And we've got a little bit on this one that I do have to kind of poke out, but not bad. I mean, definitely not bad. So I'm going to do this off screen really quick. And of course, Jeff just vacuumed down here, and so now I make a mess with all these little holes. Okay, so I probably could have run it to another time just to make sure that those all came out, but pretty good compared to what it normally would have been. some of these I will have to peel off a little bit. But it works really slick on the Designer Series paper, that's for sure. Okay, so the other piece that I want to also die cut is going to be, let's see here. Oh yeah, because I was going to do, this is going to be the curved piece as well. So we're going to do that same thing. Put this fairly close to the edge. I'm going to place this on that dryer sheet. Run it through. And we're going to go back just to be on the safe side. That comes off. Yeah. And then that one all came off, which is perfect. All right, and then the other one, I was going to do the scalloped die, which has a little bit of a curve to it. So I try and, let's see, where's my card base? So our card base, this was the smaller panel. So that's going to come in like that. And then I'm going to be layering that other piece, the scalloped one, on top. And so I try and kind of align with that, you know, the way this curve is going with that scallop. So if we kind of went, let's see, I think I may tilt it like that. Okay, so I'm going to keep, oh, here's my tape. So again, I'm just kind of eyeballing here just to kind of keep that curve pattern going. So I think I'll place it like right about there. All right, now this one I don't need to have that dryer sheet underneath it because this is just cutting off that edge. And I'm going to run it through like I normally would with the long way. And again, this piece, you could make it, I think it was just a scrap I had. This was 2 inches wide by 5.5. All right, so there's our curved edge, which we'll then place right on top. And I'm going to actually trim, I'm going to take just a titch off, I think, because I want a little bit more. I think I'll probably take about 1/4 inch off. I should have moved my die over a little bit more. All right, so that is all the die cutting, I believe, on this part. Okay. Then I wanted to show you on the hybrid embossing folder. Okay. So like I said, you get the stamp set, you get the dies and the folder all as a bundle. And so this die is all one piece. And on your folder, the side that has the logo, that is your negative side. So when you flip it open, if you feel it, you can tell that it's indented. That's the negative side. That's the side that this die must be on with the cutting edge face up. And then you just nestle it in here until it locks in place, so it's not going to move around. You'll then place, and I should probably get some cardstock here just to show you really quick. Now, since this is like a 6x6 folder, you know, you do need a bigger piece of paper. So this is like a 5.5 by 5.5. You'll then lay your cardstock so that cutting edge is facing up. It's locked in place. Paper goes on top. Close the folder, and the spine, whoops, I need to shift this over. The spine of your embossing folder must go through first. So I do that little arrow on there. And, oh, sorry, I need to switch out my plates because we're embossing. So you're embossing and cutting at the same time. So I'll get my other adapter plate. Make sure everything is lined up. And now you have an embossed image that has also been die cut. And it's really pretty, like you can actually use either side. Both of these are really pretty with texturing. So those are the 3 leaves. And then of course you've got, you know, this piece. You can do something with it. I don't know what, but I'll figure something out. And then again, you can just use this as a normal embossing folder and not do the die cutting too. So this is where it's not die cut. So there's like really just beautiful texture and depth on this. I just love this folder. And then that back side is really cool too. But the most important thing is making sure that that die is always going to be on that negative side, face up, locked into place. You close it, and then you run it through with the spine first. So I think that is all of my die cutting. So we can get this thing out of the way. All right, here. I got stuff all over. All right, so let's get back to our card. All right, so we've got that. We've got some leaves, and I've already kind of die cut a bunch of stuff. And that was done. This is just left over. Okay. I know I always have to kind of clean up a little bit. I don't do well with chaos. Where stuff is like all over the place. I have a coworker, oh my gosh, her office always just gave me such anxiety because it was such a mess with stuff everywhere. All right, so here, like I said, I had some of these didn't quite poke through all the way, but get some of these off. But that dryer sheet, I mean, for the most part, it takes the majority of these little die cut pieces. So we need those intricate dies. Just remember to grab those fabric bounce sheets. Okay. So these are going to be our valley folds. So those both kind of come in to make our trifold. So now really, I mean, you can flip this around. I mean, it doesn't really matter like what, you know, which direction you want it. You can do either way. So it just kind of depends on like your papers that you have cut, what's going to look best. So since I have this coming in, and then this will go on that side. And then this piece is going to go there. And then I'll have my leaf. Yeah, so that's how I'm going to do it. So this was at 3 3/4 by 5.5. My adhesive. There it is. And again, this is that meandering meadow, and then my card base was shaded spruce. And again, this is the same size as this panel. Make sure you're right on the edge, lined up. And looks like I might have been off just a little bit on my cutting. Let me turn that really quick. Just a smidge off on my cutting here. What a surprise. looks like I need to clean my paper trimmer. I think I had some. Oh, I was cutting sticker sheets. That's what I did. That's what this is. Got some glue on here. All right. We're just going to take just a smidgen off. There we go. Okay. All right. So there's that. And then on this side, we're going to take that scalloped edge one and we'll go ahead. Yeah, I like the wood side. Because my focal piece is going to be that big leaf. And again, this one's going to go right on the edge. Oh, you know what? I was going to trim that a little bit. Let me do that really quick. Oy, I'm telling you. All right, I just want to take a smidget off of here. Easier said than done now that I've got tape on here. Let's just do, yeah, about there. Whoops. Okay. Oh, this is not my day. All right, I gotta recut that whole thing. I should not have had the tape on there. Oh, is that gonna work? Oh, I can make it work. Oh, Lord. See, Evie the demonstrator has off days. We're all human, but you can make it work. On the fly. I do the same thing in my classes. You know, when someone, goofs up, I can usually find a solution to save the card if I don't have extra pieces left over for them to use. But for the most part, you can fix any calamity. All right, so there's our flap. Here's our panel. And then our inside, then this other one that we had die cut, which was the opposite side, we're going to put that one on this side then. And again, since this has got that really narrow stitched border, I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue, and especially with these little die cut hole pieces, just to keep those down. So I just do little dabs. A little dab will do ya. And then this will get adhered on the inside, right to that edge. And I usually just take like my bone folder or an acrylic block just to kind of help press this down. All right, so there is that trifold. So now we're going to take our leaves, and I'm using, let's see here, I have a bunch already die cut from the set, and I've got this little piece left over, which I'll probably throw that in right there. And then I'm looking for my inside piece of cardstock. I know I cut a piece. Where did it go? So sorry. I'm like, where did it go? The gremlins are out. Well. All right, hold on. I gotta cut another piece of paper. Oh, here it is. I think this is the size. This is 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, so this is your inside panel. So this is that 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to, I think on this one, I was going to be doing it as a birthday card. So let's stamp do a little bit of shaded spruce. We'll do some basic beige. Okay, and so the basic beige I'm going to use now from the stamp set. So this is that online exclusive. And I will show in another video when you go, because when you want to die cut these, remember that die cut, it's cutting always 3 leaves at the same time. So I'll show you, and if you still have like your Stamparatus or any type of stamping tool, it makes it really slick to keep like these pieces that you die cut. Use that as a template. And then when you put this in your stamping machine or your stamping tool, you know, you can kind of use this as a guide, and then you'll pick it up on that platform, and then you would put your paper inside here. So I'll show you in a future tutorial how to do that and stuff. Because otherwise, this big stamp, you do have to use the largest size block. And right now, that block of mine is buried. It's still in my class bag, which I haven't all the way unpacked. So I'm going to use one of these smaller ones that I know will fit on the blocks that I have here. So this is fitting on block E, right? Yeah, E. Put that one on there. Okay. So I'm just going to do a little bit of the basic beige onto the basic beige cardstock. Dyes everywhere here. Okay, and then the same, which was from the Changing Leaves stamp set. We'll do that in actually, no, I'm going to change. Let's see here. Do I want... Yeah, we're going to do from the Sketched Butterflies, that Wishing You a Beautiful Birthday, because I've got quite a few July birthday cards I need to get out this week. So we'll just put that there. Might just be a fiber in the paper, but yeah, I think it was just a fiber. Oh, Linda, Lord. Oh boy. Yep, look, I had ink on my finger. Ah. All right. See? Can always try and fix something. Never leave home without this little sand eraser. I get these off of Amazon. Oh, they're a lifesaver. Okay. Okay. Make sure I don't have any other. Oh, I hate that when that happens. All right, so this is in. Put this in the center. And then our front, let's go ahead and decorate this. So I'm going to take that large leaf, and I have this die cut twice because I'm going to layer this. So I'm going to put the green on the bottom so that when it opens up, because it matches my card base, and then I'm going to layer the Granny Apple Green on top of it. And I just do this because I want a little bit of stability, make it a little bit thicker, because it's overhanging on that edge, especially with this little delicate stem. So I'm just layering this on top. And then that is going to go here. So, and then remember, because this has got that holes, you know, we don't want to put a ton of glue because then that glue is going to seep through. So I'm really only going to focus on putting some glue on this edge and basically these two leaves. And then probably the stem. Yeah, the stem will get glue. Let's see here. And then here, I'll just kind of look from the back side, and I'm just kind of wiping away any of that excess glue that's kind of showing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick this up a little bit and then just draw in, just so it's gluing, adhering to those edges of the flap, just to make sure it stays in place. And I just kind of wipe away any of the excess glue that's hanging out. But you can also, I think what I will do, I'm going to stick another leaf here, maybe just to help cover up some of that stuff. So, since we are using that leaf, maybe I'll keep that same one here. Yeah, I'll do that. So we'll just glue this in, and that'll help cover up some of that glue from the front leaf. Yeah, these hybrid embossing folders, they're they're really fun. The other one that's a hybrid that we have is that Seaside Wishes. So the sand dollars, those are the other embossing folder that has it embosses and it also die cuts. Okay, yeah, that helps. And then that gives that a little bit of support. And then since we have, let's see here, what do I want to do? That's that lemon lime twist. Do I have a smaller? Oh, I know. I think I've got, we'll do this one. Yeah, I think we'll just do one of these other. So this was in the lemon lime twist. And so these are some of the other dies that come in that changing leaves. Let's go here. All right, so there's that. And then we'll go ahead and put our saying, so this is also out of that changing leaves. So these are the other dies that you're getting besides, you know, the big ones. So you get these little intricate ones that I just had done on the inside, and then these great stitched shapes that you can use for your sentiments. So this is on that basic, basic beige. And I was going to do, yeah, I think I'll still keep that in the green. So the saying is from the changing leaves. So this is that "You are amazing in every single way," which we used on our other card, and that fits right on this shaped die that comes with that set. And then I always like to double up just to give it a little bit of stability. So it's the same color. I just do 2 layers. And then we're just going to put this right on top, which I may do a little bit of a dimensional. So we'll put 3 of those on. And then I've got my little gem. So these are the transparent adhesives. So they're kind of like a clear. There's like this lemon lime twist, a blackberry, and I think more of like a kind of a garden green. Could be a granny apple green. I think it kind of coordinates with a few of the colors. So on this one, if I can get it out of here. Oh my gosh, I need a do-over day. Nothing but the struggle is real this afternoon. Let's see, I think I will do this lemon lime twist. So we'll grab one of these. Let's do, actually I could change it up. I could do a couple of these colors. Do a little bit of the other green. And then one more like here. I think I want to do a smaller one. I always like to do groups of 3, but sometimes, yeah, I just have to. All right, so that is the Trifold Fun Fold using your Around the Bend dies. Oh, and I had this little piece left over. Let's put this, let's just slap this in here since we have it. Might as well use that scrap up because this is that 1/2 inch piece that we just cut off the bottom when we were doing our panels. So we'll just slide that in there. Give it a trim. Bada bing. Doot, doot, doot. Fun. All right. Thanks again for sticking with me. Sorry for the bloopers and the struggle is real today. But anyway, try this out with that Around the Bend dies. They're pretty fun to do. I'm going to be doing some other fun folds, getting back into my fun fold series, which I was going to be focusing on some Z folds. So I will do some of those coming up. And then I'm also looking at some other techniques, like the bubble technique, and I was going to do some stenciling techniques coming up. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. Have a great and creative day, and I will stamp again with you soon. Bye-bye.